If you want to scale your company, you first have to scale decision making. And for you to feel confident, you need to scale decision making with confidence. The only way you're going to do that is if you grow your team. That you hire the right people and you are growing them consistently. And then they will take the right decisions. Let's talk about the freedom framework. And it really goes on how to evolve from entrepreneur to CEO. I really believe the only way to scale a company is scale decision making. And to scale decision making, you have to have confidence that your team is going to take the right decisions. And for you to be able to grow your team and be able to help your team take the right decisions in the process, you have to evolve first. We are the biggest bottleneck. And we always said in every bottle, the bottleneck's always at the top. So we are the biggest bottleneck. And this is not just about the head of the company, it's just about how the team has to evolve. So most of the people in this course is the leadership team of a company. Understand that this is the way you have to evolve as a team to take the company to the next level. So I believe there's 4. And by the way, I already broke stage 3 in 2. So we're coming out with a program in Growth Institute. You've heard about the MBA All Access. We're building company universities. Now we built it in 5 stages, and I'll explain a little bit more. But there's the 4 stages as we saw on the last call. And I believe the entrepreneur or the founder or founders of the company have to go from being entrepreneurs to be leaders, to then be leader of leaders, and then to be CEOs. And there's a full process of going through the stages. So first, in every company, there's 3 job functions when you start a company. You have the technical work, and in our case, is the person that records the videos, edit the videos, build the courses, all the course design and how to partner with thought leaders, all that, the technical work. That needs to happen for us to do our business. Then we need to have the managerial work. You need to manage a team and pay payroll and pay thought leaders and all that. And that's all the admin stuff. But someone has to do it. If you don't do it, the company doesn't move. And then you have the entrepreneurial mindset or function, and it's driving the direction. But most importantly, go and take your strategy, your dream, your mission, and everything to the market for the market to want to come and buy from you. In overall, these are the 3 functions of every company. When you're a startup, the most important is that you divide these 3 in at least 3 people. Today at Growth Institute, we have teams doing each of these, but we have teams that's their expertise. We have a video production and a course design. They are doing the technical work. We have the finance and admin department, and that's a managerial, and they run all the accounting, taxes, and all these kind of things. And then the entrepreneurial is the CEO team that I have and the growth team that helps me drive the message, the marketing, and all that. But it's very, very important that in the startup phase, you understand who in your team is doing what. And as an example, when we started the company, we brought a 3rd co-founder. The idea was built first by Vern and I. And then when we decided we're going to run the company, Vern said, okay, great. Who are you going to hire to be the CEO? And I was like, I'm offended, Vern. I'm going to run it. And he was, I don't have time and you're too expensive to run the company and start. You're all the time running, coaching and traveling, and you make a lot of money. If you become the CEO of Growth Institute, you will not be able to live with whatever we're going to be able to pay that person. So bring someone. I said, okay, great. So I brought a friend of mine called Juan Gonzalez. And we said, Juan, you're the CEO. You run the company in a day-to-day. On Mondays, we'll have a call. You'll tell us how much money you need for the week and what you need, and we'll decide on that. Perfect. So Juan was the first CEO of Growth Institute, and he ran it until a little bit more than $1 million of revenue, the company. And he was the manager of the company. I was still the entrepreneur, kind of bringing all the ideas and all that, but he was the manager. And sometimes I did things without asking him. And he came to me and said, Daniel, I'm sorry, you have to take that decision back and reverse the contract. And I was like, but I'm the owner of the company and I want to do this. And he was like, yeah, but I'm the manager and I have a plan and I'm following the plan and you're outside of the plan. You cannot do it. And I was like, but Juan, like I was really feeling that I want to do it. But he said, you gave me a budget. I have to be on top of the budget. I have the full plan, the company, and that doesn't fit today. And I had to respect his decision. And it was painful, but I had to take it back a couple of times. So each one has their own job and you have to respect each position. Then a leader. And now you start leading a team. And for you to lead a team, you first have to verbalize where we're going to go. You have to define the direction. Hey, we're going to go there or there or there. Before, you're doing everything in the middle. You're in the middle of everything. You don't have to really verbalize it. Now you have to start telling people where we go. You have to be very clear in your communication and really be able to crystallize where we're going. And once you said, okay, we're going to go there, then I expect you to do this, and you could delegate to your team. So first set the direction and then start delegating. But here, everyone reports to one person. You're like a son, like a leader with 1,000 helpers. And this is what we call a lifestyle business, maximum 15, 20 team members. You could not go beyond that. If you want to go beyond 20 team members, then you need to build a leadership team and start building a scale-up. That it's a completely different animal. And then you have to go to something like this. And this is a very complicated human structure compared to this one. Because now you have to lead through other leaders. And the big problem is communication. You tell something to this leader and this leader transitions or changes the message to the rest of the team. And it's a mess. They start playing phone. And that's when things start breaking. That's why here scaling up is so important because it crystallizes communication. It obligates you to write it in a very simple format that everyone could read in a one-page plan. And another thing that is very important, if you see every circle here is very, very different in each leader. Each leader has his own leadership style. You could not obligate your leaders to lead like you lead. You have to help them lead in their leadership style and be better with their leadership style. This is a big, big mistake we see leaders doing. They want everyone to lead in their same format. We all lead very, very different. You have to accept that and nurture their format. Help them design their action plans. Help them design how they're going to run, build teams, how to build their teams. Now you have an experience how to build a team and you coach your leaders how to build a team. And then you learn how to coach. You could not tell people what you do. You have to coach them and help them do what they want to do in a better way. As an example, I have a head of finance or a head of admin. I hope he's better than me on paying taxes, running financials, all of those things, because I hired someone that I expect to be better than me. I cannot tell them what to do. I have to help him or her do their job better and grow as a leader. They could grow that department. Same with my head of sales. I hope my head of sales know more than me about selling. So as an example, some years ago, I had a head of marketing and I was bringing all these marketing ideas and he was denying and killing on my ideas. And one day I came to him and said, hey, I'm sorry, you're not a good head of marketing. I'm going to put you in operations. And he was offended. And he was like, but I studied marketing and I'm a marketing guy. And I was like, yeah, but I need to have someone in marketing that is bringing the ideas to me, not killing the ideas. I feel that I'm the head of marketing. And he was like, no, it's a mistake. He went home and the next day he called me and said, I think you're right. I would love to be the head of operations of the company. Let's bring someone in marketing. Let's do that. And we brought someone that had more marketing ideas and was willing to test more things. So I could not tell the head of marketing what to do. I would expect them to come to me and say, hey, this is what I want to do, or I want to learn this, whatever. Now this way. And my job is to coach them to operate as a team and be able to execute it in a better way. So the mindset changes dramatically. Second thing, the big shift in mind from stage 2 to stage 3. In stage 1 and 2 is all about you, the leader of the company, and how you grow and how you become better and your relationships and all that. Stage 3 is all about your team. Now they don't work for you. You work for them. And I usually turn my org chart around and said, now I work for you. And my job is to help you be successful and grow you. The more you grow, the more successful you are, the more you're going to grow my company. So it's a completely different mindset change because now my job is to be their employee. My job is that Luisa does her job better. And usually I come to call and said, how can I help? Where are you stuck? And my job is to unstuck them and give them the tools and the guidance for them to do their job better. And then on stage 4, you become a satellite around the organization and you have to be in charge of strategic innovation. The team builds a lot of systems and processes. And Salim Ismail said, it's like an immune system. They build an immune system that keeps the company alive, but that same immune system doesn't allow you to change. So you as the leader, as I'm the outsider, you are bringing that strategic innovation. And I have archetypes depending on the stages. For me, the stage 4, we call them the loco, the crazy one. I hear this from all the teams that I coach. They all say the CEO or whoever is the head of the company, it's crazy. Here comes the boss again with all their crazy ideas and they have to do all these crazy things. That's your job, to bring innovation, to bring change, to keep your team. So they call you the crazy one. So the other day I was in a company with a CEO, a very brilliant CEO. And we were having a conversation about all the new projects and the new ideas and all the team that couldn't do them and they didn't have the time and the money to do them. And one of the team members said, let me explain to you how this works. One day we get to the office and the owner, it's putting a plane on the air and taking off. And we're just getting to the office and he's running with his new project and idea and making revenue and selling it and doing partnerships. And we come and said, hey, what about the landing gear? And the CEO said, what do you mean a landing gear? Yeah, you need a landing gear to land the plane. But hey, I'm not even talking about landing. I'm just going to put it on the air. Yeah, but if you put the plane on the air without a landing gear, you're going to crash. And the CEO doesn't see that. The entrepreneur doesn't see the landing gear. The entrepreneur just see that there's an opportunity to fly a plane and they fly it. And the team is going to be building the landing gear while you're departing and flying the plane. That's how it feels. So you have to be strategic innovator and bring all that innovation. Change catalyst. You have to break these systems and processes for them to be able to change and improve. And of course, design the culture and be the chief of culture. Make sure the company is living the culture you design. So here's kind of the mindset shift from stage 2 to 3. You have to stop playing checkers and play chess. When you play checkers, you see your board and all your pieces, all your team members are almost the same. And you have the capability and the pull to move them around and you have all the control in your company. When you're playing chess, it's very different. You look at your board and say like, wow, they're all different. They all have strengths and weaknesses. Now you have people that are special, that are very good in something, are bad in something else. Remember, on stage 1, you hire a lot of generalists. On stage 2 and 3, you're going to start going to specialists. Now I'm going to hire someone that is better than me in sales. I'm going to hire someone that is better in operations. I'm going to hire someone that is better in finance. So now I look at them and said, like, wow, you're really, really good for this. How can I position you to use your strength the most? And how can I cover your weaknesses with someone else? And you're very strategic. And once you have positioned them in the right position, you have to step aside and allow them to play, allow them to do their work. And we make the mistake that we're on top of them changing things and trying to say, no, you hire me. I know what I'm going to do. You already told me what you need me to do. Now let me do it. And I hear a lot of team members telling me, get my boss off my back. My boss, tell me what to do, give me the direction. And it's all the time, hey, how are you doing it? Have you sent the email? Hey, I want to see the email before you send it. If you tell me what you want and you hire someone that you trust me, then let me do it. So you have to play chess, be very strategic with your team, position them in the right position, and then step aside and allow them to do their work. What is the most difficult jump from which stage to which stage? For me, the hardest is go from stage 2 to 3, because the value of that is the biggest one. And you have to go from a lifestyle business to a scale up. And in the lifestyle business, it's all about you and no drama, cash flow and all that, but no drama. Stage 3, you have to invest heavily on infrastructure. And you need infrastructure in 2 areas, people infrastructure and systems infrastructure. And it's very, very expensive. I believe that that's a place where you have to raise money to really be able to go to stage 3. So for me, the toughest one is to go from stage 2 to 3. And it's not about you. It's about your team. And also the CEO has to let go. What is the most profitable in your experience? So Iñaki, I believe most of the companies should stay on stage 2 and should not go to stage 3. So I always say that I have 2 companies. I have Growth Institute, that is a scale up, and I have a consulting firm that is a stage 2. Indeed, we're a stage 1. That company is never going to be a scale up. And by the way, do you know which company my wife likes the most? My consulting company. Super profitable, no drama, no nothing, no cash flow issues, no nothing. Growth Institute, it's a different animal. I have cash flow issues often. I'm struggling. I hire people and they work and I fire them. And it's normal. I'm going through a scale up. I'm going through the value of death of stage 2 to stage 3. But I wanted to do another scale up. And I told my wife, I had a couple of companies, did extremely well on my first one. My first one grew it to 1,200 employees and sold it to a big Spanish bank. My second one, I did a mortgage bank, was a disaster. And I lost all my assets and it was really, really bad. And that's when I became a consultant. And I was doing pretty well, pay all my debts. It was great. And one day I came to my wife and said, I'm ready to be an entrepreneur again. And it's like I told her someone died. Like my wife got depressed and she started crying like, no, we're having a great life. We travel 2 months a year. We don't have cash flow issues. And I was like, but I need it. I really need to do another one. So we made a plan. I had to delay my start 6 or 8 months until I put some money in the bank and structure some things. And then I started growth. And I needed to do it. It's part of who I am. But if you'd ask me about cash flow and fun and lack of drama, the consulting, by far. The one I enjoy the most, the one I'm going to feel super proud about it, going to be Growth Institute. I love what's happening in Growth Institute. I understand the risk and the challenges, but I love it. That's kind of the way I see it. So I strongly recommend most of you should stay on stage 2. Have I used scaling up on stage 2 companies? 100%. I helped reduce drama, clarify things, so you could take more vacation and maximize the cash. Here's the biggest problem on stage 2. If you don't understand stage and you don't understand scaling up, you feel that you have to go to stage 3 and you make a lot of mistakes and invest a lot of money trying to go to stage 3. You get to stage 3, you hate it, and then you come back to stage 2. So the other day I was teaching this class to a lot of entrepreneurs around the world. And one of them, after I finished, he sent me a WhatsApp and a voicemail, like a long voicemail, and said, you just explained my last 10 years of my life in 20 minutes. He said, when I had 20 team members, I was making a lot of money. And I said, if I'm making all this money with 20, when I get to 50 or 100, I'm going to make 3 times more money. And he started scaling the company. He said, when I had 70 employees, I was making like 5 times more revenue, but I was losing money. I was losing like 2 million a year and I hated my life. And one day I said, I'm going to implode my company. I'm going to come back. And he imploded his company, came back to stage 2 and was very happy. I see a lot of people imploding their companies in stage 2 because it's just too much drama. If I didn't understand what's in there and why I'm doing it, most likely I would have imploded and bring it back. So once you understand, and I have a lot of conversations with entrepreneurs and really get them on the right mindset and said, hey, okay, you want to go to stage 3. Why is it important to go to stage 3? What's going to happen if you go to stage 3? And once we have clarity, you'll say, okay, great. What do we need to go to stage 3? And then we make a plan. And here's what it's important. Stage 3, first. Most of the progress in the world is done by scale-ups. The other ones maintain economy and give lifestyle to people. But the big change in the world is big companies like Apple. Apple, it's a game changer in the world on technology, Microsoft and all that. You have to get to thousands of employees to get to that. So we need scale-ups in the economy to really build economies and take human to the next level. And two, you're building an asset that has an intrinsic and enterprise value. Stage two is never going to be soldable or sellable because it's you. It's great for cash flow, but you're not creating an asset. A stage three or a stage four, you're building an asset. It has an intrinsic value that one day you're going to exit your company, you're going to sell it, inherit or whatever, but you're going to exit your company. So I am doing growth because it's going to be an exit. Probably in 10 years, I will sell it. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm in my 50s. I still have 15 more years to go easily. So I'm having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the challenge, but I'm doing it for that. Do I expect I'm going to get a big check in 10, 15 years? Yeah, that's part of the game. I'm building a scale up and someone's going to buy it from me and going to give me a check and I'm going to retire. But it has a different mindset. My consulting company today pays all the bills, gives me all the cash flow. I'm putting a lot of saving. I'm giving a great quality of life to my wife and my kids. And we're happy with it. Can I live the life that I live today with just Growth Institute? No way. Impossible. Because a scale-up that requires a lot of capital and a lot of investment. I could, but I had to go and raise $20, $30 million and play the VC game that I don't want to play. I usually, and by the way, scaling up is being scaled by Vern and I. We're the ones that have put the money. We have a couple of friends that have put some money, but we decided by decision not to bring VCs. Not because we don't think they're great. I love the VC industry. I think it's very important. We just didn't want to deal with the drama of it. So we're doing some hybrid in the middle. And of course, keeping the main thing is so difficult in a company. That's why scaling up is so powerful. It obligates you to clarify what's important and keep everyone aligned in what's important. And of course, you have your dashboards and you have everyone aligned and you have your KPIs and you know exactly where do you want to go and how are things going with each of your team members. Now, quickly, let's talk about your team and what's the right training in each of the levels. And by the way, if your company is on stage 3, you're going to have employees on level 1, 2, and 3. If you're on stage 1, everyone's at level 1. When you're on level 2 company or stage 2, you have team members on level 1 and level 2. So the levels grows with the amount of stages. Employee, frontline team member, train them on their know-how. Hey, they have to do phone sales, train them how to be better doing phone sales, right? Train them on their know-how or their technical work. Focus. Imagine doing something the same for 10 hours a day or 8 hours a day. It's tough. So help them with focus and tools for focusing and all that. This for me is really important. Productivity and results. Usually a frontline team member comes to you and said, I'm going to give you 8 hours a day. You're going to pay me $20 an hour. And in their mind, they're changing time for money. I said, fine, that's great for you. For me, it's not that. For you is you could convert 5 clients in a day or you could convert 20 clients in a day. I want you to be focused on productivity and results, not time. So I work a lot with my frontline team members on productivity and help them understand that they could produce way more value per hour. And of course, if they produce more value, I could pay them more and they could be more productive. And that's the biggest mindset conversation on frontline team members. And of course, humility, cultural adjustment, or core values, because you want them to operate with the culture that you set. So what is culture? Is the way you want your team to execute or behave when you're not in the room. And your team members, the frontline team members, are the ones touching your clients all the time. You want to make sure they're running with the right culture from the company. So you have to spend a lot of time talking about culture. Then stage 2 or level 2, listen. The big change from level 1 to level 2 is listening. Level 1 is all about you and you're growing and you're talking and you're proving that you're great. Level 2, now you're a leader. You have to learn how to listen. Teach them how to listen. Recognize patterns of performance. If they have 10 people on the phone doing sales, why one is closing 3 clients a day and the other one's closing 20 clients a day? And that's pattern recognition, patterns of performance, and understanding KPI and all that. How to build high performance teams and talent development. The typical problem here with a first-time leader or a first-level leader is they say, okay, now I'm ready to go to the next level. And I was like, great. Who do you train to replace you? I said, what do you mean? If you're going to go to be a director or whatever, who do you train to replace you? I want you to tell me who in your team is the best person to take your position. And I want you to tell me how you train them to be able to take your position. Because if I take you to the next level, I have a hole, I have a problem. The only way I'm going to be able to take you to the next level is if you select the person who's going to replace you and you train them for them to replace you. And that's talent development and really understanding how to grow their team. Then the third level, now they're departmental managers or directors. Identify key personnel for the key position, right? Now they have to be way more strategic. Remember, now they have to learn how to play chess, not checkers. And they have to be way more strategic. How to develop new leaders. Now it's all about growing them, the leadership level of the company. Understanding the big picture with other departments. I want my head of finance to learn and deal directly with my head of operations. I don't want my head of finance to come and complain to me and me having to call and shout to the head of operations. I want them to learn to operate as a team and work as a team. So understanding the big picture, but inside the company and prevention. And then the next one, it's all about people. We're all in the people business. If you say, but I'm in operations and I'm in real estate or whatever, but at this level, at C-level, at vice presidents, it's all about managing people. So understanding people, change management, they are the ones that are going to help you drive the change and the innovation in your company. Global vision, how your company compares to the market. As an example, with my leadership team today, I explained to them about valuation, about VC and private equity and all that, for them to understand strategically why the way we're building Growth Institute makes sense and why it's so important for everyone. And then systems thinking. They are the ones that help you drive the system and really build systems and processes in your organization. And this is a tool that I use a lot. This tool is in my house, will never be in my office. Please make sure no one else sees this tool. Once you build it, make sure no one else sees it. You've heard from top grading that you need to have A, B, and C players. Let me tell you the way I run them. Some people do a 2x2. I love to do a 3x3. So the more to the right, the more results they produce, the more money they generate. They're more productive. And the higher on the chart, they have better values or cultural fit. They're more aligned culturally. If you call them at 2 o'clock in the morning or you ask them to stay until 2 o'clock in the morning to solve a problem, they will stay. Someone here said, no, I can't, I need to sleep or whatever, and they don't come or they don't even get their phone. This one, you could count on them when you have fires. And that's kind of the mindset. These three, these three, you fire them fast and they don't care that you fire them. They're happy you fire them. If you're not happy with them, they're not happy working in your company, but they're lazy. They don't have anywhere else to go. You pay them a paycheck and they're there, but they're not happy. They're not really doing their life passion and their life mission. So identify them fast and fire them fast. This one is really hard. It's someone that usually provides a lot of value to the company, but long-term, they don't fit in the company. And sometimes the typical amazing sales agent that never does reports, but they do 20 or 30% of the revenue of the company. And people say, like, but you obligated me to come on time and do the report and not to that guy. And I was like, yeah, but he sells 10 times more than you. So shut up and don't complain. You allow them not to play with the systems and processes and the rules because they do 30% of the company. But you know that you're uncomfortable with that person, but you don't want to keep them long term. And this, I call them the cancer, and a friend calls them the rock star, the toxic rock star. Is the drunk, drug addict rock star. You know they're a drug star. They fill the concerts. You cannot count on them. One day they're going to get an overdose. One day they're going to be completely drunk. They're not going to be able to play in the concert. But today, they're the ones that they fill out the concert. So you have to build a plan to remove them from a company 6 months, a year, 2 years from now. And usually, you have to start building a plan. Tell you a quick story about one of them. One day, when I built my first company, let me give you a quick story. I built the first financial technology company in Mexico. I was the first technical company or technology company in the internet or the Mexican market that did stock trading online, stock quotes, everything online in Mexico. How many programmers do you think we had in Mexico? 19 that understand programming in the internet and understand finance. It was impossible. It was a unicorn. That guy didn't exist in Mexico. There was one, the head of technology of Reuters. That was the guy. He was the guy that brought Reuters to Mexico, and he was the guy that installed all the screens of Reuters in Mexico. So I want to have the guy in my team, and it took me 2 years of begging him to come. And the guy came, but sorry, I'm going to say a really bad word. He behaved like an ass because he knew I needed him. He knew that I had no other option. So the guy came late. When I asked him to do things, he said, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do it. It was really, really hard to work with. So one day he did something that I thought he completely crossed the line. So I went with my co-founders and said, guys, this just happened. I'm extremely unhappy. We could not live without him. So I'm going to fire him exactly in 6 months. You have 6 months to turn the company around and don't depend on him. That's it. And I went to my room and I started building a team around him. So as an example, at that moment, the servers were in our office behind a 64K. My first website was behind a 64K with the servers in my office. The servers sometimes went down at 2 o'clock in the morning. I had to call the guy and get him from his house to my office to take the servers up. So I said, hey, you don't want to wake up. I don't want to wake your family at 2 o'clock in the morning for you to come and bring the servers up. Why don't you train this young 25-year-old kid that could sleep in the office if he did it? And we train a guy for that. And then we had to do some technical cleaning every Monday, every morning to be able to display the right financial information. Why don't we hire a kid to do that and train them? And I put all these 5 or 6 kids behind him and said, hey, you're the boss. You should not do all this technical work. I'll put all these kids to the technical work. And once I have the team of all these technical kids behind him that they need to know how to do everything, I fire the guy. And it took me around 6 months to do that. So those guys, identify them, don't fire them immediately. Find the plan and build a plan to fire them in some time. These Bs, I love them. This person is a B. They have all the right attitude, but they don't know how to give results. And they have two potential problems. One, they have the wrong training, or 2, they're in the wrong position. And both of them are leadership problems. It's not the problem of the employee. It's my problem because I put them in the wrong position or I didn't give them the right training or clarity of what they have to do. So that's my job to make them an A player. Usually I call them and said, hey, I love you. I love working with you. You're an amazing person. You're really bought into the company. I really appreciate that, but you're not providing results. So do you like your job? Do you want to do something else? Do you want to stay in the company? And I figure out a way to keep them happy and give them the right job or the right training to help them become an A player. But that's a long process. And by the way, I've had a team member as an example that he was having a lot of health issues because he was completely overweight. And one day I told him, hey, I'm going to talk to you like a friend. I'm really, really worried about you. And you just had a kid and you're a young guy and you're super overweight and that's really impacting your work. I really believe you have to lose your weight. And the guy said, I've tried, and he cried, and it was a mess of a call. But I said, hey, do you want me to help you? And the guy said, yeah. So I hired a nutritionist for him. And I said, hey, I wake up every day at 5 a.m. to do exercise. I'm going to call you at 5 a.m. Are you okay? And the guy said, call me at 5 a.m. Every day at 5 a.m., I woke up. The first thing I did, I called him and said, get out, go out and walk or do some exercise. I asked for permission. I did not do it without asking for permission. He asked me, said, yes, I'm okay with it. That was at the level I had to go to help him come back. And at the end, or after some time, he lost some weight. He was doing much better. He was way more focused. I helped him with some vision stuff, and he was much happier. And of course, he provided more value. And everyone said, okay, I want to have a lot of A players. So I'm just going to hire A players. It's impossible to have just A players. You have to create A players. And by the way, A players are amazing and they have a lot of opportunities in the market. So you can see a lot of A players running and going somewhere else. So it's really, really important that, yes, you hire A players, but you understand you cannot depend on just having A players. So here's my last message here. The companies that win are the companies that have a lot of B players in the process to become A players, wanting to become A players, with a plan to become A players. If you do that, you're going to win. So identify your B players and help them understand where they want to go. And this is what we're working on the MBA All Access that we're about to launch. So here's the way I do it with private clients. We set the 3 to 5 year strategy. The third column on scaling up on the 1-page plan, the 3 to 5 year. We agree on what do we need to do as a company to be successful in the next 3 to 5 years. I said, everyone agrees. We're okay. Yes. Now let's build a functional org chart of the company 3 to 5 years from now, without names, just by functions. And we build a functional org chart. And then I say, great, who wants to be in that org chart and who does want to be? And people say, oh, I want to be there. And I was like, great. Let's see who do you have to become to be that. So as an example, imagine that growth is, we're doing, let's say, $10 million of revenue. We are a team of a $10 million company. You want to have a $50 million company. First, we have to become a team that executes at that level, that we provide that value to the market for us to be able to have a $50 million company, not before. So I tell them, hey, I'm going to need a head of operations in 3 years that does these things, has these results, and need these capabilities. Do you want to be that? Yes. Okay, great. Now let's build a plan to help you get to that. And now we could build a personal development plan for the person to become that. But if you don't have that, it's going to be impossible for them to want to become A players and do the right things. You need to have that mental mindset that you win in their mind and they see themselves in that position. They see themselves in that team. They see and recognize what they need to learn. And now they're going to be open on learning it and getting to that. So are you being the leader your company deserves? This is all about you. Are you doing all these right things? Are you elevating yourself? Are you pulling your team? Are you becoming that leader that your company needs in the next 3 to 5 years? And I'm very serious here. The only way to grow your company is to grow your team. If you grow your team, you're going to be able to delegate decision-making and have confidence in your decision-making. But most importantly, you have to become a leader that will attract that team. If I don't become a leader of a $100 million company, I will never attract and be able to grow a team to operate at that level. And then I will not be able to build a company that provides that much value in the market. So the bottleneck is always at the top, and at the top of the company, and then at the top of the departments. And these are conversations I have all the time with my team. I have a coach that is coaching me today in a lot of mindset things and tools and all that. And the one big thing he's helping me is helping coach my team to get there. And we know we're far away from where we want to go. So we have to become that team to be able to execute at that level.